Kia ora and welcome to the Amateur Austenite. I'm Frances Duncan, author, Austenite life coach. With me is Rachel Pilwer, book buyer, Austenite, all-round nerd. Hi! Today we're discussing chapter 50. In case you forget, Emma and Mr. Knightley have just declared their love for each other.
Woo!
So she spends the entire night thinking about this, and she writes to Harriet, and then Mr. Knightley comes to visit and cheers her up a little bit. And then she reads a letter from Frank, not to her because they couldn't write to each other, but to Mrs. Weston. It starts right where the last one left off. They're walking back into the house, feeling much better than both of them did when they went out. And they sit to have tea with Mr. Woodhouse, who little suspects what was plotting against him in the breast of Mr. Knightley, who he's so worried might have caught cold from riding in the rain.
How damp is the clothing of Mr. Knightley? Because if he walks into that house with slightly damp clothes, Mr. Woodhouse is going to go ballistic. I love the exact wording of that line you were just reading. Poor Mr. Woodhouse still suspected that what was plotting against him in the breast of that man whom he was so cordially welcoming, anxiously hoping might not have taken cold from his ride. It suddenly goes from Miss Knightley, this lovely friend, to that man who he was so nice and polite to and who he was worried about, plotting against him to steal his daughter away.
It's referred to as impending evil on him.
And this is when Mr. Knightley becomes the villain of Mr. Woodhouse's story. How dare you fall in love with my daughter and make her fall in love with you?
Could he have seen the heart, he would have cared very little for the lungs.
Obviously he wants Emma to be happy and looked after, but not if it means she's going to leave. Obviously that's what's expected, is that they'll fall in love, they'll marry, they'll move out.
But Emma doesn't intend that. She's committed to staying with her dad and looking after him. Right early on in the novel, Austen refers to Mr. Woodhouse's gentle selfishness. And this is another example of that.
He's still worried about you and whether you've caught a cold. But he's mostly thinking selfishly of, I need my daughter here with me all the time. Get away from her, you scoundrel.
Emma goes to bed and has a sleepless night because everything is ticking over in her brain. What's she going to do about her dad? What is she going to do about Harriet? Oh no. She resolves to never quit her father. It's a sin. She cries over the thought at leaving him. She's a good person.
She's a good person.
Cares about her dad. They can only be engaged until her dad dies.
That's so sad.
I've made my decision. I know what I'm going to do about that. Okay. How the hell do I deal with Harriet? Spare her from unnecessary pain and make her an atonement? How to not appear her enemy?
It's a tricky situation. Even now, broken so many friendships up.
She decides to continue just not seeing Harriet.
Again, can you blame her? Really, what's a more important relationship in her life, even without the romance between her and Knightley?
That is true.
Her relationship with Knightley is so much more important and has been more important for her entire life than any relationship her and Harriet could have.
Yeah, Harriet is fleeting and Mr. Knightley has been part of her entire life and will remain, even if they didn't marry.
If she turns Mr. Knightley down, it's not like she can just not see him like she can with Harriet. Her sister is literally married to his brother. He's still part of the family. She's going to have to see him at any family engagement or whenever they all come to town.
There is no avoiding him.
There is no avoiding him. It's easier to avoid Harriet because if Harriet leaves, gets married, whatever, it'll be incredibly easy to avoid Harriet for the rest of her life.
To make that avoidance easier, she decides to send Harriet off to London to see a dentist and stay with Isabella.
It's such a weirdly shitty thing to do, isn't it? Oh, your teeth suck, so I'm going to send you to the dentist in London. Just so we don't have to see you, but I'm not going to tell you that's why.
It's been bothering Harriet, and she knows that Isabella will like Harriet, and Harriet will have a good time. Isabella loves when people are sick and she gets to deal.
Yeah, Harriet will go for one thing at the dentist, and Isabella's going to treat it like she's got a terminal illness.
Mr. Knightley appears only in one paragraph for them to walk in the garden again, and then he goes. Then a letter is delivered from Mrs. Weston. It contains the letter from Frank to Mrs. Weston.
So I've just thought of another thing about Emma sending Harriet off. It's probably Emma trying to make up to Harriet, feeling guilty for taking Harriet's man. Emma's way of being like, I'll pay for your dental care and your trip to London, not just to get her away from me, but also because I feel so bad that I've stolen her, the guy that she likes.
I'm not sure if you would forgive someone if they did that. I can only think of an example being like, well, I stole your husband, but I'll pay for you to get plastic surgery.
Right?
That's what it feels a bit like when you say that.
It is exactly what it feels like. But I think in Emma's mind, it'll kill two birds with one stone. I'll fix her teeth and then she'll find an easier time finding a husband next time.
So there's a really freaking long letter from Frank, quite clearly showing that people will just pass letters to other people to read because it's all gossip and this is how you learn about shit. So you have to be aware that your letter could be made public, which is why it's so difficult for Frank and Jane. They have to hide each other's letters because people are like, oh, you've got gossip from somebody? Tell me. We don't have TV.
Oh, you got a letter? What do they say? Read it to me. Let me read your letter. Let me read your text. Open your phone right now. Let me read it.
Pressure.
Pretty much the same thing. You did have a private message. Would you write it on a smaller piece of paper or another piece of paper and tuck it in with a letter and be like, please do not share, but here is the another part of the letter that you are more than welcome to share amongst friends. Did people do that?
I don't know, maybe.
I feel like that if they didn't, they were dumb. You can impart private information and then be like, oh, here's the rest of the letter with all the hot goss.
When Lydia writes to Kitty in Pride and Prejudice, her letter is too full of lines under the words to be made public. Lydia going, this guy is hot. That is not appropriate to share publicly. This is Frank's apology and explanation letter. But he starts with, it's very difficult for the prosperous to be humble. Because he's happy.
Yeah.
Everything's going well for him. He's like, if you think I've done really badly, I did all of this for her. She's fantastic. How could I not? How could I not?
How could I not? She's my girl.
And
I love her.
She stooped to a secret engagement. I would have gone mad if she hadn't. Yeah, maybe I was looking forward to my aunt dying. Not great. Not great. But also, positive state of mind, I'm Mr. Weston's son. Yeah, sorry, so I didn't come to visit you for the wedding. I did wait till she was in Highbury.
This is another flaw of Frank's character, as he was like, sorry, can't make it for your incredibly important day, despite the fact that you're my father and stepmother, because this woman was way more important to me than you.
I know that you love me and you'll forgive me. You just have to convince my dad.
Mr. Weston loves Frank, because Mrs. Weston is marrying him. She should love Frank, but she technically doesn't have to. Especially when he doesn't come to the wedding. She doesn't even know you. She's never met you. She's only ever heard of you from her husband. It's not unconditional love.
Although he does say, it does mean that I didn't get to know you as long, and that in itself is a punishment. True. And then comes the apology for flirting hard out with Emma.
Which he should apologise for.
It seemed like everyone wanted us to get together, but also she seemed like she wasn't gonna fall in love with me. So it seemed safe. If I did bad by her, I completely understand you guys hating me though. But I think she knew. When it becomes public, she won't be surprised. She was giving me hints of it. Dude, just because you were so in your head about it. But he regards her with brotherly affection. Appropriate. Mrs. Weston is kind of both of their stepmothers.
Yeah, that's true.
Everything comes down to, I wanted to be with Jane. He always calls her Miss Fairfax. He's very particular about that. Always Miss Fairfax. Everything was to get to see her, to spend time with her. Yeah, I was the one that got the pianoforte. She thought it was stupid. She wouldn't have let me do it if she knew I was going to. I've just heard from her. I'm worried about her health. She says she's fine, but you know that she doesn't complain. Please, can you go and see her?
Yeah, it's a really long letter, and it's so dense. There's no breaks.
It's hard.
There's no paragraph breaks. I always really struggle with this section to kind of keep up with where I am. I have to use my finger when reading this in order to follow along.
He talks about his aunt dying as opening to him the happiest of prospects. Ouch, man.
Rough. Your aunt is rolling over in her grave.
Jane was not impressed with the way that he behaved at Donwell and then at Box Hill, and then because he left, she thought they were done. She is completely blameless. Everything is on him. No, she sucks. I don't love her. I haven't done anything wrong because you're a child. And then also gets into ranting about Mrs. Elton. Jane, indeed. You observe that I have not yet indulged myself in calling her by that name, even to you. I respect this woman. I love her and respect her so much that I will not use her first name. This bitch, Mrs. Elton, is bandying her name about. Like, it doesn't mean anything.
We all know Mrs. Helton sucks. Again, still want that on a t-shirt.
I made one.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I feel like it's funny that Frank is so particular about using Miss Fairfax. Is he gonna struggle to transition into calling her Mrs. Churchill?
He might. Married couples often refer to themselves by their married name.
He's so like, Miss Fairfax, Miss Fairfax. When they get married, is he gonna be like, Miss Fairfax? I mean, Mrs. Churchill.
Possibly. It's a hard thing. You see Mr. Woodhouse struggle with Mrs. Weston.
Yeah, he still calls her Miss Taylor.
People's entire name changes. He explains how the breakup happened. They'd been walking after Donwell and then their whole Box Hill thing. And after he left, she sent a letter breaking it. His aunt had just died. He wrote her a letter and did not send it. She thought they were done. It wasn't till he heard from her again saying, here are all of your letters. Send me mine at my new job.
That he was like, oh shit.
And then...
that was the moment he knew he fucked up.
Yeah. Talks to his uncle. His uncle's like, I get it. You're in love. I want you to be happy. I've been happy. I want you to be happy. Rides back to Highbury.
His uncle's so nice. And again, I think we've mentioned before that it's like, well, maybe actually the main reason that he does this is because his love has just died. And he wants Frank to experience that because his love is gone now. Because we know that Mrs. Churchill wore the pants in the family, so he couldn't have said that if she didn't approve. Why didn't she want him to have love? Or only love with an appropriate person?
Some people think you can choose who to love. The concept of marrying for love was relatively new. To some people, it was just the thing that you say, like Mr. Collins. Oh, it is the appropriate thing to say that I have affection for you so that we can get married. Because it would be good for our families for us to get married so you can still access your father's fortune.
It still baffles me that Mr. Collins, Lizzie rejected him and he didn't think to look at any of the other sisters. He was like, no, I've been, gotta go to Charlotte now.
He potentially could have, but Charlotte made a play for him. She showed that she was interested and he did need to get out of the house.
Yeah.
Because it was awkward.
If he had to continue, he still sees Lizzie later on, but it's like if he had to continue being part of the family that Lizzie was in.
Awkward. Which is why when Jane Austen got engaged to a guy, then broke up with him, she's like, we're leaving.
Yeah. We can never see this man again. Ruh-roh.
His uncle is on his side. But the worst bit is when I turned up at Highbury, finding that she'd been really sick. Because of my behaviour, she was really sick. She'd been so upset. Yes, we got back together, but I feel horrific for what I've put her through. And I'm super lucky. Miss Woodhouse calls me the child of good fortune. I'm going to be happier than I deserve.
In one respect, my good fortune is undoubted. Jane's my good fortune.
Oh, that's not what that bit's about.
Is it not? That's how I've always read it.
In one respect, my good fortune is undoubted, that of being able to subscribe myself, your obliged and affectionate son. Maybe he's trying to flatter Mrs. Weston, because he does earlier.
Please don't be mad at me, mother.
Got my punishment because I didn't get to meet you, and then he's like, I have great fortune because you're my mum now. And that is Frank's letter.
He is fortunate for having Mrs. Weston as a stepmother.
She is a pretty great mum.
She's a great mum.
She and Mr. Weston are both a bit too kind and forgiving, though.
Mm-hmm.
Frank could do pretty much anything, and they'd forgive him.
Yeah. He could steal all their money and they'd be like, oh, he just needed it more than we did. To be honest, if he asked them for money, they would give it to him, even though he's far wealthier than them.
What do you think of Frank's letter?
Well, he talks entirely too much. I feel like it was kind of written almost kind of as a bit of a redemption for his behaviour. I still think it doesn't quite do enough for me. I think if I was reading this letter, I would still kind of be like, I don't quite forgive you. It's the appropriate letter to send. He apologises for his behaviour, for keeping the secret. He apologises for how he treated Emma. I think it is a good way to round off. We still have a little bit more of Frank's story to go with him and Jane, but it's a good kind of place to be like, actually, Frank is this is his moment of realisation of how he's acted. I think it's at least good that he apologises for it.
Not like Emma. She never apologised to Miss Bates.
Yeah, no.
He does explain a lot of stuff that we have questions about, which is really great. You could also argue that he's over-explaining himself. Like, please feel bad for me, because it was hard for me too, even though I did bad things.
It's
justifying his actions.
Yeah. Oh, these are my reasons for doing these things, which means that it's totally fine that I did them, right?
I didn't mean to stab them. It just happened.
I slipped.
Totally reasonable.
I guess it kind of goes a little bit of way to... I'm 1 foot off the Frank hate train, but I still think that especially the bit at the end where he's talking about how ill Jane is when he comes back. He's made her this ill. This part of the letter actually shows that you were a bit of a dick when she, like, asked for your letters back because you hadn't contacted her. Like, you made her think that you...
He misplaced the letter.
Mm.
But can you blame him for that?
Does he have ADHD?
Does anyone not have ADHD?
It's so true. Even if he misplaced the letter, to have left how he did, like, how long had it been between letters that Jane thinks that they're over?
He was in Highbury and then he fucked off.
Yeah.
Because they had a fight.
That's a childish thing. And it's like, well, of course she thinks that you've broken the things off if you're
Acting
going to storm off like that.
And that's our discussion of Chapter 50 of Emma. I've been Frances Duncan. This has been Rachel Pilwell.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. We wish you happy reading.
I just couldn't remember your titles. My brain went, what order do you normally say them in? This guy's dick was huge.
Oh, Lydia.
Oh, Lydia.